Hi, and welcome everyone for our talk here. This is my epoch. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about today is helping the homeless, different ways you can help the homeless. But you guys pretty much know, if you've been here for a while, the most important thing about helping the homeless. But as a human being, especially as we get older, one of the things that we really start looking at is what is the legacy on which we leave. And so many people look at their wealth and the things that they have and their possessions and their status in life, and they use that as a way to be able to define themselves. Well, I really think that is kind of the sickness that is within our society, because at the end of the day, you can have all the money, all the possessions, all the things, all the property, all the power, all the prestige, but what is that legacy that you left behind? And that legacy is the relationships, because the thing is you'll be remembered for 10 years. Once all the people that knew you were gone, will they still remember you? What have you done to be able to leave a lasting impact? And there's a lot of people that look at the homeless situation and go, you know what, it's pretty sad that being in the wealthiest country in the world, that we still have homelessness. But homelessness is by design. It's the way the system was created. Without homelessness, you don't have the rise in value, the ability to control and manipulate you through fear of, like, well, if you don't have this, if you don't do this, this is where you're going to end up, and we're going to make it absolutely hard on you. Okay. But at the end of the day, and this is what I've learned from being a workaholic, is that relationships are probably the most important thing that you could ever have. Okay. When you pass away, the impact that you make on somebody else's life will then allow them the opportunity to make an impact on another person's life. And so taking the time to be able to develop relationships with the people around you is extremely important, because this is how you leave a long lasting effect within the homeless community. This is why it's so important that you go out and get to know your homeless person, find out what their needs are, find out what it is that they need as a human being that's going to help them be successful. Some people are not ready to get off the streets. Some people like being on the streets. Some people are stuck, they're stuck, wallowing in their self-pity. But something that was really important to me, that really helped me understand how to get control over the situation that I was in, and how to write my own destiny in so many ways. I'm sitting in this gas station, and this kid, he's like 21, 22. I'm thinking he's a gas station clerk. And it turns out that he actually owned the gas station. And not only did he own the gas station, but he was going to college for something. I forget what it was. And he looks at me and he says, you know what? Um, every obstacle is an opportunity. I've owned a business. I've done a lot of things. I've pushed and pushed and pushed, and really worked on doing really cool things in my life. But to be able to look at what he's doing at such a young age, I was so impressed that there was no way that I could actually argue with the guy. And so I started adopting his philosophy, which is homelessness is an opportunity. Obstacles in life are an opportunity. When you see a homeless person, if you can help them understand that it is an opportunity, within what happens then is you are able to make an impact in their life, because you are able to take their stinking thinking, their negative Nancy attitude, and you are able to help them get to a point where not only can they accept homelessness and embrace homelessness, but they can look at it as an opportunity. One of the things that we as Americans have always prided ourselves in is the fact that, when you fall on your face, you can pick yourself up by your bootstraps and make yourself a new man. Well, what does that look like in modern day society? Well, that is what we see as modern day homelessness. Okay. But the thing is because we've brought the government in, we've taken the power away from the community, the responsibility away from the community and the churches. We've gotten to a point to where we have now made something that was able to be looked at optimistically, and people to be able to get themselves out of this situation, to now allowing them to be victims, allowing them to be like, oh, the system did this to me and this to me, and oh, I'm a victim, without actually being able to fix it. But Historically, the attitude of the average American was, you fall on your face, you pick yourself back up, which means you lost everything. And who's lost everything in our modern society? That's generally your homeless people. Now, sometimes you have family you can go stay with, but it's not something that happens on a regular basis, or those bridges get burned over time because, again, you get stuck in wallowing. So when you're developing relationships with homeless individuals, the most important part is to help them understand the opportunities that they have before them, and the fact that they can reinvent themselves, become a new man. It does not mean that they have to get off the streets, but if someone, comes out on the streets and is okay and comfortable sleeping outside and doesn't have to beg because they have figured out legitimate and creative ways to be able to make money because they had somebody that believed in them, that was their cheerleader, that said, hey, you know what, I think you can do it. And that put the wind in their sails to be able to make a change in their life, for the better. Okay, in the same way, when I was in Gainesville last year, I sat down with Puckett. I'm like, after he had went into his diabetic whatever, and I had to carry him back to the shelter so that we could get him medical help. I talked to him. I'm like, hey, look, man, you need to start taking better care of yourself. You're lucky I was there. Who else would have done this for you? If it wasn't for me and you being best friends, you probably would not have made it through the next few days because people were just driving by, just letting him be there. Okay. And so because I was able to step in and to be of assistance to him and to kind of really give him that wake up call, when I came back through the next year, his he was no longer having to take the shots. He was able to go to the pills, and so he was managing his diabetes. He'd lost a lot of weight. He was eating healthier. He was doing less weight dope. He was making sure to get his sleep. He was starting to take care of his body, and it was actually starting to make a positive impact. Now, you can't sit there and say, oh, well, we're going to do something that happens overnight. No, I come back 6 months later to find this. After spending 2 months with the guy, being like, hey, everything's good, da 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 da, because I developed a relationship with him. I went out there and I made sure to be the positive force in his life, and to know all he really needed was a good friend and somebody who would be his cheerleader is really what he wanted. Somebody to hold him accountable for his own actions. And I will tell you that when you're dealing with the homeless, especially those that have addictions, if you're gonna develop these relationships with these homeless, you also need to be able to accept the fact and not judge that they're doing their dope. You're just going to have to. This part of the relationships that I create out here, to where I'm able to have some sort of impact and push them in a little bit of a right direction and do my part for my fellow man. um, you know Part of that is the fact that got a guy, he's got to sit there and smoke his crack pipe right in front of me. Well, I mean, I don't like it. But I don't care. That's his thing. And I just wanted to, you still keep that relationship. You don't let that be the deciding factor on whether you have a relationship. Now, with that person, if they ask me for money, well, I know exactly what it's going for. I'm not going to give it to them. I'll give them a cigarette. I'll share with them some of the stuff I have, but I'm not going to give him money because I don't agree with it. Now, am I judging him? No. Okay. And that is the fine line that you have to. You have your boundaries. You don't agree with it, but you don't care that he does it. Okay. That's what I mean by not judging. And the thing is when you do that, the homeless person will open up to you, and it will give them some form of trust, because society has spent so much time shaming them that shame, all that does is put them in a fit of depression, which then allows them to sink deeper into the overall issue that they're having. Okay, so anyways, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. You guys know how to help the channel. Become a subscriber. Make sure to share this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Okay, but if you really want to help the homeless, this is how you help the homeless and you make the most positive impact. Okay, everything else is down in the description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.